If you think crypto crime is all about Bitcoin and some shadowy hacker in a hoodie, well, you're going to want to stick around. The game has totally changed. The stakes are way higher, and the old king, he's been dethroned. We're about to dive into a $154 billion crypto nightmare that is happening right now.
For years, that was the image, right? A lone wolf cybercriminal, hoarding volatile Bitcoin on the dark web. Yeah, that whole picture? It's completely out of date. The world of on-chain crime has gone pro, and honestly, the old tools just don't cut it anymore.
So, if Bitcoin is no longer the king of crypto crime, who is? Who took the throne? That's the big question we're answering today, and the reality is a lot more organized and, frankly, a lot more alarming than you probably imagine.
All right, so let's get right into it. How did this happen? We're talking about a massive, seismic shift in the criminal underworld, a really deliberate move away from the OG cryptocurrency towards something way more practical for their business. First, you just have to wrap your head around the scale here. $154 billion. That's the estimated value of illicit crypto transactions in just 1 year. It's a massive shadow economy operating right in parallel with the real financial world.
And this is where the new reality really hits you. Out of that $154 billion, a staggering 84% of it wasn't in Bitcoin. It wasn't in Ethereum. It was in stablecoins. Look, this isn't some gradual shift. It's a total and complete takeover. So the real question is, why? Well, this brings us to a really powerful idea that explains everything: the dollarization of crime. Turns out, criminals, just like any legitimate business, they want stability and they want efficiency. And they found it by pegging their entire operation to the US dollar. Just, on the blockchain.
And for anyone who's not totally up to speed, here's a real quick primer. A stablecoin is just a digital token that's designed to hold a steady value. Most of them are pegged one-to-one with a currency like the US dollar. You've probably heard of Tether or USDT. Just think of it like a digital dollar that can move instantly anywhere on the planet.
And when you look at it this way, it just makes perfect sense from a criminal business perspective. I mean, why would you deal with Bitcoin's insane price swings and slow transactions when you can use a dollar-pegged stablecoin that settles instantly? It's not about ideology, it's a totally pragmatic choice. They've simply upgraded their financial toolkit.
There's a quote that just nails this new reality perfectly. By using stablecoins, these groups have built, and I quote, a shadow version of the traditional banking system, one that moves at the speed of the internet. It's got all the stability of the dollar, but it operates totally outside the reach of regulators. It's the perfect criminal tool.
Okay, and this is where the story takes a really serious turn. Because this isn't just about your typical criminal syndicates anymore. The biggest, most powerful players now entering this shadow system are actual nation-states, and they're using this technology as a weapon of geopolitics.
You can actually see this whole evolution in 3 distinct waves. Wave 1, that was the classic era of the lone wolf hacker. Then Wave 2 brought in the professional criminal groups. But what we are in right now, this is Wave 3, the era of large-scale state-sponsored activity. This is where geopolitics and crypto violently collide.
So let's open up our first case file, Russia. They have shown a crystal-clear strategy of using digital assets to fight back against Western economic pressure.
Get this, in less than a year, a state-backed digital token moved over $93 billion. What this does is it effectively lets Russian companies completely bypass the global SWIFT banking system. They can move huge amounts of money across borders, directly undermining international sanctions.
And of course, Russia is far from the only one playing this game. Our next case file is Iran, where the state and its proxy networks have become deeply embedded in this on-chain economy to fund their military and political goals.
We can see over $2 billion flowing through sanctioned wallets for all sorts of things, funding terrorist groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, laundering money from illegal oil sales, and buying weapons. This is a direct line from the blockchain to real-world bloody conflict. And for our final case file, let's turn to a country that is literally weaponized cybercrime, North Korea. For the DPRK, state-sponsored hacking isn't just some side hustle. It is a primary source of revenue for the entire regime.
And last year was their most destructive ever. Hackers linked to the state stole a mind-blowing $2 billion. A single one of those hacks, the Bybit exploit, was worth almost $1.5 billion of that. That is the largest crypto heist in history, and every penny went to funding a rogue state.
So you're probably wondering, How does all this dirty money get clean? Well, it's powered by this highly professionalized industry. We're talking about laundering as a service, and it's dominated by these incredibly sophisticated Chinese money laundering networks.
And the process is, well, it's as streamlined as a tech startup. A client could be a North Korean hacker, could be a drug cartel, gives them the dirty stablecoins. The network then runs it through this incredibly complex web of transactions to hide where it came from, and then they return clean funds to the client for a fee, of course. It's an industrial-scale operation.
Okay, so let's just step back for a second and bring this all together, because we need to understand the real threat we're facing here. It's easy to get lost in the billions of dollars, but the real story is, it's a little more nuanced than that.
Now, here's a super important piece of context. All of this illicit activity that we've been talking about, it still makes up less than 1% of the total crypto economy. The overwhelming, vast majority of crypto use is totally legitimate.
And this right here is the single most important takeaway from our entire discussion. The problem isn't the percentage, it's the character of that 1%. We have moved from a world of scattered criminals to a professional, state-sponsored shadow economy that poses a direct threat to global security. And make no mistake, this isn't just numbers on a screen. This on-chain activity is converging with violent physical crime in the real world. It's being used to fund wars and terrorism, it's connected to human trafficking rings, and it's even led to a rise in these horrible violent attacks where people are physically forced to transfer their crypto. The consequences are terrifyingly real.
Which leaves us with this one, final, and deeply unsettling question. When the world's most sophisticated criminals are the nation-states themselves, operating in a global financial system they've turned into a weapon, who exactly is supposed to police it?